Hey everybody, how you doing? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from BlackKeysToGreatness.com. Now, what I want to talk about today is something that just came to mind that I think you want to think about in terms of how you conduct yourself, how you perceive your success versus your failure, things like that. Because a lot of times our minds can play tricks on us. Our eyes can lie to us. For example, as an entrepreneur, there are people who don't understand the life of an entrepreneur, who only understand getting a paycheck every day. They don't understand the ups and the downs of running a business. They don't understand how sometimes you take a loss so you can have a gain in the long term. They don't understand what it really means to be broke versus what it means to actually just be cash flow short. For example, you might have an entrepreneur who made a couple $1 million over the last 2 years, but because their expenses are so high, they actually have to go in debt in order to keep the business going. Most major corporations had to do that. Most major corporations had to go into debt for a while before they started making a profit. Amazon.com is an infamous example. They were deep in debt, but they were making capital investments that were going to give them the ability to build a corporation that would be worth hundreds of billions of dollars. So what I want you to really think about is kind of go with me on this. First, to finish that first analogy or the first concept here, don't worry so much about exactly where you stand in terms of money right now when you're building your business. And what I mean is that I know entrepreneurs personally where people, like, let's say they're famous, and people will say, oh, so and so's bankrupt, so and so's in debt, so and so's struggling financially. And when you really look at the fine print, what you'll see is their cash flow short, absolutely, but they're building something that's going to have long-term sustainability and help them make a lot of money in the long term. It's no different from a student who goes to college and they go, let's say 50,000 in debt to get a degree from Harvard at the Harvard Business School or something like that. Well, if you look at the balance sheet and all you see is what you see right there, you're going to say, oh, he's doing badly. Look at how much debt he's in. Look at how low his income is. But if you look at the holistic picture, if you value a person's future or the future of an entity the same way you value a stock, the same way the stock market valuations occur, you'll see, wait a minute, but wait, he's got this degree from Harvard. And that degree from Harvard over the course of his life is probably going to be worth a couple $1 million at least. So he's actually doing quite well. So the thing is, though, you have to then extrapolate that. So the first lesson on that is sometimes the way people think that you're conducting business or what people think about where you are is not actually an accurate measure of where you are. Most people who get way ahead start off looking like they're way behind. And so I hope that point makes sense. I know I was a little bit garbled on that. So I was trying to make sure I explained the concept in a way where you can get what I'm saying. So if you're a little bit behind, it's okay. Just always know that you're investing in things that are going to put you ahead in the long term. Just like when rich people think about debt, when poor people think about debt, they just take debt for anything. They'll just take debt to go on vacation, to buy a car, to buy clothes, whatever, or food. Rich people will take on debt if it helps them make more money in the long term. So they'll take a little L right now so they can have a big win later on. Now, what I want to do now is I want you to go with me mentally to a bigger picture. I want you to think about wealth building as an intergenerational game. You see, wealth building is not something that happens, in the next 5 years. It's not something that happens right now to you in your lifetime all the time. You're going to get a little bit of wealth. I mean, if you build wealth and you build a business and all that, you're eventually going to get something. There's no question about it. But the beneficiaries of most of the wealth building that you do in your lifetime, if you do it right, the greatest beneficiaries will be your children and your grandchildren, right? So if you go from deep in the red to a little in the black, they're going to go, if you raise them right, they're going to go way into the black. And then their children, if they raise them right, will go way into the black, to the point where whatever it is that you have now, as small as it may look, could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars to your grandchildren. And that's true. If you look throughout history, you see corporations like that where where the corporation started off as a mom and pop shop with basically nothing, not very much. And even when the founder dies, the company's doing good, but not explosively. It's not explosive yet. But then 50, 100 years down the road, you'll see where this mega multi-billion dollar corporation exists because of some things that were done very early in the game. Like when Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, he immediately became a businessman and began to figure out how to put light bulbs in people's houses. So 100 years later, you have General Electric that he started, which is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he could have envisioned that all the long 12, 14-hour days he was putting in would lead to something that valuable. He did okay. He made a little money, no question about it. But it was nothing compared to the amount of money that was made by his children, grandchildren, great grandchildren, as well as all the people who worked and benefited from the existence of General Electric. So in your mind, you want to think about how what you're doing can become a General Electric in 50 or 100 years. You can do that. It's really a matter of kind of thinking about things in a certain way. And sometimes we have to realize that we have to take an L for our kids. You might be a little bit in the red. You may not feel like you're doing as well as you could do if you sold out and got a corporate job. And when I'm talking about selling out, I'm talking about selling the future, selling whatever it is you're building, getting rid of that and going to work for somebody else. I'm not talking about selling out like Coonan and all that. I'm talking about selling out like saying, okay, I'm gonna let all this go so I can have that over there, because that over there is going to give me a paycheck right now. Well, if Thomas Edison or somebody like that had done the same thing, there would be no General Electric. So he might benefit 100 years ago. He might have made an extra few $1,000s a year, but billions in wealth would have been lost because he couldn't see the bigger vision. He wouldn't be able, because he couldn't see the necessity to take an L for his kids or his grandkids. So don't be afraid to take an L for your family. That's what you are. You're not in a one-person race. You're in a relay race, and how you conduct yourself at this stage of the race is going to make all the difference. Well, that's it. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. Check out blackkeystogreatness.com. That's where I teach about life strategies, motivational skills, goal setting, all that stuff. I think you're going to love it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.